Okay, so I saw Captain Marvel and I enjoyed it. Now, to a certain extent, I'm a locked-in Marvel Cinematic Universe guy. I'm unashamed about that, but I'm not uncritical about it as well. There's been a lot of crap talked about Captain Marvel, and want to address that one first. There's been a lot of kind of guys saying that, you know, the MCU's been stolen by women, all that usual shit. Let's ignore those guys. Those guys don't have an opinion that's valid. And one of the things I think that pisses them off is that the narrative isn't specifically aimed at guys the way that a lot of other Marvel Cinematic Universe movies were. Some of them were a little bit of a sausage party with occasional women thrown in. But this one is a story about women and about women finding themselves and about female empowerment. And I've got no trouble with that at all. Some guys have. Screw those guys. So Brie Larson plays Captain Marvel, also known as Carol Danvers. She has a character arc which is a little bit of a cliche in some ways, in that it's about an amnesiac hero who finds themselves. It's been done before. By the way, there are birds talking there. It's been done before, but I like the kind of framework that gives us, because we know as much about the character during that part of it as the character knows about themselves, and that kind of makes it inclusive for the audience. You've got a de-aged Samuel L. Jackson, de-aged 25 years with wonderful software, and Clark Gregg playing Agent Coulson, de-aged 25 years. The movie's set in 1995, so you get all sorts of 1995 flagging there. The music is era appropriate. The technology is really slow computers, blockbuster video, all of that kind of stuff. Gives a big nostalgia kick for those of us who were around in the 1990s, and it really worked for me. We have Lashana Lynch playing Maria Rambo, a pilot who worked with Carol Danvers before her amnesia kicked in and the Kree took her to their planet Hala and basically brainwashed her into believing that she was a Kree warrior rather than a human being. Not too much of a spoiler there. People who've read the comics or even seen the trailers know that. We get Annette Bening turning up too, which is a lot of fun. She plays a couple of different roles. I'm not going to do spoilers to talk about what those roles are. We also have Australian acting icon Ben Mendelsohn playing Talos, a Skrull, and he gets to do some nice things with it. You got a beautifully nuanced role by Ben Mendelsohn there, when he's disguised as a human being, because of course we know the Skrulls are shapeshifters. He has one accent. When he's himself as a Skrull, he has a good Australian accent, and you've got to like that. Even the Hemsworth didn't do an Australian accent playing Thor, so for an Australian it's kind of nice to see our own accents turn up in the MCU. And like Mendo, he did a terrific job, and this is a difficult thing for actors. He did a terrific job of acting through the makeup when he's playing a Skrull, and it's difficult because your face is covered in all of this latex and other stuff, and you've got to try to create a character not only with your voice but with your eyes and your posture and everything else. Not an easy thing to do, and I think Mendo did it quite well in this one. The kind of meta-narrative around this one, as I said, is about female empowerment. It's about women finding themselves. It's about women supporting each other and encouraging the next generation, and we do get a bit of that without too many spoilers. And it's also about toxic masculinity. Jude Law's character is pretty much the poster boy for toxic masculinity, and indeed the whole Kree Empire can be seen as a toxic masculine culture against which Captain Marvel fights. The movie, as I said, is pissing off some people good. I'm really great and I'm happy, and I'm terribly pleased that it's pissing off the right people. I think that any creative art that isn't pissing off somebody isn't doing their job right. The movie's a good lead into Avengers Endgame, which comes out in April, and which I'll review on the channel as well. I think that having Captain Marvel, who is an incredibly powerful superhuman, is going to be a game changer as well. Having somebody who's more powerful than the Hulk or Thor or Iron Man or any of those guys, and who's a woman, is going to inevitably change the Marvel Cinematic Universe. And I don't think that's a bad thing. I think that redressing that balance, Marvel's been going for 10 years and they've done over 20 movies now. And having one that features a woman centrally, doesn't have a superfluous love interest in it, which I really liked, and really does start to reflect the era in which we live culturally, is a lovely thing to see. And I think it's one of the things that's going to keep the MCU going for at least another decade. Having that inclusion, movies like Black Panther have included people of colour and kind of made them central to the narrative in that movie, and having a movie that has women central to the narrative in Captain Marvel helps a hell of a lot. I think that it helps with the audience that Disney and Marvel are going for. A lot more women will start watching these movies, and I think that it's an important message to send in this age of culture wars. You've got to tell people which side of the line you're on, and I think that that's really, really important. So even though this is a fluffy superhero movie, it's meant as an entertainment, it does talk to deeper cultural things. And for me, that made it work. But the heart of this movie, and this is something that again has pissed off the incels and the other people who don't like female-oriented movies, is the relationship between Maria Rambeau and Carol Danvers. The friendship, the mutual support, the love between them really does work. Now, some people have seen that as a queer narrative. It's not for me to say whether it is or not. I'm happy to go either way with that. But that's the kind of emotional core of the movie. And it's good to see that in an MCU film. When at some stage in the future there's an overtly queer person in the MCU, I'll embrace that as well. I think that representation matters, and it's good to see the start of that in this particular franchise. And I've got to mention the Stan Lee homage. Well, actually there are two. There's a Stan Lee in the movie, and there's an homage near the start of the movie, which I'm not going to spoil for you. You may already know what it is, but it rocks and it works, and it honours the man in a suitable way that doesn't kind of weigh against the film itself. So that was really nice to see, and Vale Stan Lee. And props to the directors, Anna Boden and Ryan Fleck. Did a great job on this. It's a smaller scale in some ways, Marvel movie, even though it does have a cosmic background, and I think they did a really great job of it. And you can't go away from a review of this movie without talking about Goose the cat. Now, I'm not going to spoil Goose the cat at all for you, except to say Goose is one of the most valuable players in this movie, and the merch possibilities of Goose are enormous. And I kind of like the rapport that seemed to go one way between Nick Fury and Goose. There's some nice play there. Some people didn't like the way that ended up, but for me it kind of works. You don't have to make everything heroic in a Marvel Cinematic Universe movie with a character's arc and a character's appearance and things like that. And I think that it worked, and Goose was as charismatic as any of the other characters in the movie. We went and saw it in Gold Class, which is the big recliner seats, and they deliver food to your seat while you're watching the movie, and I really like that a lot. It's a very comfortable environment. It costs a hell of a lot of money, but it's a little bit of luxury while you're watching a tentpole movie. And yeah, I think every cinema should have it all the time, but I don't think that's really going to happen. So thank you for watching. Please like and subscribe if you enjoyed this video, and if you want to see more reviews, and I'm happy to do them, but just let me know what you'd like to see. So anyway, take care of yourselves. I'll be back soon, and keep watching the skies.